Hello, you're watching the ADHD Fitness Podcast. This is my brother Josh.
This is my sister Anna.
And today we're going to be talking about the basics of physical fitness.
Basic concepts of exercise, yes.
Yes.
So there's a few different types of exercise.
Yep.
And the first one that I want to start with is stretching and mobility.
Yes. Very important, often overlooked.
Yeah. Very, very, very important. I think it's crucial to any other form of exercise. If you're going to do cardio or strength training or whatever else, you need to be able to move first. And there's certain movements that humans are supposed to be able to do that people often lose the ability to do, like to be able to sit in a squat.
That's a foundational human movement.
Yes.
And you see people in other countries where they don't have. Maybe they don't have the culture of sitting down so often, like sitting in chairs and things like that. They will squat to eat their food. They'll squat around a campfire and stuff, and it's perfectly comfortable for them.
Yeah, and I mean until toilets were invented, that's how you went to the bathroom. Yeah, that's how women would give birth, and there's crucial biological processes. And
it's so important, especially as you get older. You know, let's back up a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about what it means to be physically fit.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about mobility, which was critical, but physical fitness means that you have the ability to operate within your environment effectively, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And you along with that, you have general health and wellness. The system is functioning the way it should be. So what else goes along with that?
Well, I mean, so you have to think about these ranges of motion that your body is supposed to be able to move in. And I mean, if you want to have an understanding of what your body is supposed to be able to do, I think a good guideline for that is to look at little kids, toddlers.
Yeah, exactly.
Because kids come out fully mobile. They're formed,
they can put their foot in their mouth,
ready to go. Yeah, they can put their foot in their mouth. They can they can bend every which way, and they can very comfortably sit in a squat. Kids you'll see 3-year-olds sitting in a squat with their butt resting against their calves.
Yes.
Just playing with toys, and it's totally comfortable.
Exactly.
And people lose the ability to do these kinds of things over time because they don't practice these movements, and then people tend to just think, I just can't do that.
Right.
But they don't actually put in any time or effort into developing those movements. And I honestly was one of those people before I lost the weight. I lost around 90 pounds. And I couldn't do a bodyweight squat. I didn't have the mobility or the strength to sit down into a squat.
Yeah, exactly. And the human body is it's actually kind of incredible how adaptable the body is. It will do what you ask it to do over a long period of time, right?
Right.
So that can be a good thing with exercise, mobility, asking your body to do challenging things. Yeah. Your body will adapt to that. Conversely, unfortunately though, it also adapts to the lifestyle that most of us live in our modern society, where we're sitting down most of the time.
A lot of people have office jobs.
You're sitting in front of a screen. You're kind of hunched over. Your shoulders are really forward. I mean, I have that problem myself.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty physically active, but having that good posture and everything.
You get that the forward shoulder. There's also the anterior pelvic tilt where
Tex neck.
Your butt kind of sticks out and you're hunched forward, and that kind of contributes to that forward shoulder. A lot of people end up in this weird hunched over posture.
Yeah.
And I've struggled with that a little bit. I've definitely improved it over time. With the forward shoulder thing, there's pec stretches that you can do. You can kind of try to lengthen these muscles and also try to build up your back muscles to support it.
And as we go on, we're gonna have actual workout videos explaining some of that kind of stuff.
But these kind of postural deviations will contribute to all these muscle imbalances and pain, and just it will take away your mobility, and as you age, people as they get older will have a harder and harder time, and they'll just start to say, well, I'm old, I just can't move like that. And that's actually not how it's supposed to work at all. You're supposed to be able to retain your mobility for most of your life.
Yeah, exactly. And that's I started to say this earlier, and then I sidetracked myself because ADHD. For a moment in time, I worked assisting this guy who did physical fitness training in like nursing homes and retirement centers.
Yeah.
Like because he was going to have surgery, I think, and he needed somebody to kind of fill in while he was going to be out. And so I went around and it was eye-opening, like how little older folks can actually do for exercise.
Yeah.
And of course, depending on the environment, it could be very different. Some of the retirement homes, they could stand up, they can move their body, they could, walk around. But some of like the nursing homes was a different thing, right?
Yeah.
Like this was their exercise.
Like
Okay, put your hands together. Now raise them up as high as you can, and they would get about here. And that was the extent of their shoulder mobility. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, those types of things, you should be able to retain those, but that is dependent on you continuing to ask your body to do those things. Mm-hmm. If throughout your life, if you're asking your body to do these movements, your body is going to adapt to the challenge.
Yeah, it's going to retain those ranges of motion. That's another thing, is that like raising your arm straight overhead, where your arm is like parallel with your ear, and you can bring your shoulder blade back and down in this position. You should be able to do that.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be a range of motion that you lose. And same with sitting in a squat. Those are like your ball and socket joints. Like the ball of the femur fits into the socket of the hip, and the what is this?
I'm having all kinds of shoulder issues right now.
Yeah. This is your other ball and socket joint. To me, those are like the main points that you should really focus on as far as getting your body to be mobile. I feel like shoulders are really overlooked.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Most people, I think that like the stretching that we do for like sports teams and like youth athletics and those things are extremely incomplete.
Right.
I think that like
mostly it's just a few little static stretches. Touch your toes here.
Just like stretch your hamstrings and then like that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people doing static stretching before a workout, which is actually kind of backwards.
Right.
You should be doing it after the workout, and then you should be doing more dynamic stretching, which is like movements that are for reps.
Take the joint through the full range of motion.
Yeah, and you can kind of just like gently push through that range of motion. I like to do those like the hip hinge front kicks and side kicks.
Yep.
And you're just kicking your leg and just trying to like gently increase the range of motion. The stick shoulder dislocates where you go up and over. You kind of do that for reps. That's like a dynamic stretch.
Yeah.
All of these things are central nervous system adaptations. And that's another thing that people don't seem to understand about stretching and mobility, is that like it doesn't really have anything to do with the size or the length of your muscle fibers. It's your body has adapted to moving within a certain range of motion, and so your central nervous system has reinforced that by flexing certain muscles and adding tension to certain muscles and not releasing that tension, because you've told your body that that's the range of motion that you need to operate best in for your survival. And everything is survival based.
Right, and we should talk about that as well. Because that's a huge thing. Because all of this stuff, like good majority of the problems we have with health and fitness in our modern age, it goes back to that. It goes back to I don't want to get too much into the weeds right now. I know we want to get through, strength and cardiovascular health and so on. But basically, our physiology is essentially still a hunter-gatherer physiology. Like the human body has not adapted or evolved that much since hunter-gatherer times. Our society, our civilization has evolved way faster. And so, whereas, and you've talked about this before off camera, but like in the past, your work, your exercise, your socializing, your procuring food, all of that was kind of one thing.
Yeah.
It was like you were hunting, you were running after the buffalo, or you were walking around gathering vegetables and fruits.
We've somehow managed to separate all these things into different activities.
Yeah.
We've like way overcomplicated everything.
Yeah.
But then like physical fitness just kind of gets pushed to the side because you have to prioritize making money and your social life and, all of these other things that would have been taken care of right along with physical activity.
Yep.
But,
hiking, running.
Yeah.
Climbing on, like if you're in the wild and you're hunting animals, you're gonna be climbing over boulders and stuff, like hiking uphill and
crouching down and hiding.
Like that's all, and you're doing that with your bros, you know. And so that's the socialization part.
Yeah. And
you're getting your food, and of course in the hunter-gatherer tribe, that's a day's work. That's what you do for your living, essentially.
Yeah.
So we've in an effort to have progress. And by the way, I'm a big fan of air conditioning. I'm a big fan of indoor plumbing. These things are phenomenal. So
Awesome.
I'm not looking to go out and be a hermit in the woods just yet. So, but the point is that we've really overcomplicated our lives by doing, like you said. I remember seeing a meme online. I'll try to find it and insert it into the video. But like it's sort of a graph that says you can pick like 4, or you can pick 3. And it's like physical fitness, job, family, social life, or that kind of, and like you can only pick 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
And it's kind of true. It's like there's only so much time in the day, which is a big challenge.
Well, there's a bigger challenge for ADHD people because of the amount of time that I spend like gearing up to do something. I can't tell you how much time I've wasted.
Yeah.
And like time management is hard for anybody, but like trying to manage your time when you're time blind, when you have to do all these different things.
Yeah.
But I digress.
And I digest.
We're talking about central nervous system adaptations.
Yes.
So like if you do a static stretch, which is great to do after a strength training workout, or just on an off day.
I like to do some static stretching in the sauna after my workout.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Warms you up.
Yeah.
The static stretching, well, think about like if you go to a yoga class. Yoga is mostly mobility movements, mostly static stretching. There's some like dynamic stretching, and there's even some like strength stuff that goes on. So yoga can kind of straddle the line between like different types of exercise. But like the environment in a yoga class, they have like very relaxing music. Usually the lights are turned down very dim. A lot of times you have a good yoga instructor, they'll speak in a very soft voice like, okay, now we're going to do downward facing dog pose. All of it is very geared towards getting you to relax mentally, and that's because the adaptation that happens within your muscles is the central nervous system. So you're trying to actually get your central nervous system to relax your muscles. And by doing this, you are able to get wider ranges of motion. That's kind of only half of the equation when it comes to mobility. You then have to increase your strength in that increased range of motion.
Right. And yoga is interesting that way because yoga will... if you're not into yoga, you don't do it a lot or whatever, people think of it as just stretching. But really, yoga is stretching, but it's also a lot of these really weird isometric strength holds.
Isometrics, yeah.
Yeah, you're holding positions and in a weird way that like you have to have a lot of strength to maintain that position.
Yeah, but it's very important when we're talking about the most effective forms of exercise for changing your body. That usually is going to be either cardio or strength training, and you have to be able to move in order to do these things, particularly like compound movements, like the bigger lifts. But we're going to touch on that in a minute.
So this sounds like an intervention for me. Are you trying to say, because like that I neglect my mobility and my flexibility, and so this is really just in the guise of a podcast, you're really just having an intervention for me. I gotta
this is only the first segment of this. I do want to stress the importance of it, and also how much it can help you relax. If you have anxiety problems, which if you have any sort of neurological issue or mental health issue, you probably have anxiety as a result of it. Getting your central nervous system to send a relaxation signal through your body, it comes right back to your brain. So like that, absolutely, it's one and the same. Relaxing your muscles is kind of the same thing as relaxing your mind.
Okay.
It's vice versa.
I promise to start doing my mobility and my stretching.
And also, you don't have to do, an hour of yoga every day.
Yeah.
You can just, for me, I think it's like the parts that give me the most trouble are my hamstrings, my hips, and my upper back. And as long as I hit those, I'm pretty good. Like the stick pigeon with thread the needle. So you have the stick and you're doing pigeon pose, and then you throw in the thread the needle with it. If I do that hits pretty much everything, and then you hit a hamstring stretch. Yeah. And that's pretty much hits everything. I can be more thorough than that, and it'll be better. But like
would it be, in your professional opinion?
Yeah. Professional.
Professional opinion. No, but do you think it would be beneficial to have like maybe 1 or 2 days a week where you hit like a really pretty thorough routine? and then maybe every other day you're just hitting some problem areas.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that like if you can devote maybe like your whole workout is just some yoga, or it's just that stretching and mobility stuff, and you can combine different types of mobility movements, the dynamic stretching along with the static corrective stretching. There's also there's a form of yoga called yin yoga where you'll hold each pose for like 2 to 3 minutes, which is like you're stretched all the way out. And then when you get to that point, there's another thing that you can do, which I've just started to play around with a little bit, is like once you get to that full range of motion in the muscle, like let's say I'm doing a hamstring stretch, I'm on the ground, I'm letting my hamstring relax, and then I get to this point where I feel like it's fully relaxed, and then I tense my hamstring up and press my leg down into the ground.
PNF stretching.
PNF stretching?
PNF, yeah. Wait, is that right? PNF?
I don't know. I didn't know there was a specific, I didn't know there was an acronym.
I believe, but I can't remember. It's proprioceptive neurological flexibility something.
That sounds like it might be right.
Something like that, yeah.
Sounds official.
PNF. So I believe that's right. But anyway.
Okay. Yeah.
But yes, it's good stuff.
Yes. So, as far as the importance of it, I'm going to reiterate that I find that it's almost the basis of all movement is just getting those ranges of motion and strengthening those. And isometrics kind of plays into that a little bit as well.
For a person who has maybe never done anything physical before, that might be the bulk of how they start. That's
actually how I started. When I was like, 280 something pounds, I couldn't really jog or like do a whole lot of these like compound lifts like with a barbell. I wasn't really capable of doing that. When I decided I was going to start working out, I was like, I'm just going to stretch every day, and that was my workout. Yeah, and that's a great place to start.
It's a way to prime the body to get ready to start doing these more complicated strength movements and things. Yeah. But I think the big thing is to preach being patient with yourself. It's not instant. We live in this microwave culture where everybody wants it now. Microwave fast food culture, however you want to phrase it. But your body is absolutely going to adapt if you are consistent over a long period of time.
Which is hard.
Which is very hard, especially for ADHD people.
Yes.
So if you
I think like there's a lot of that like I look in the mirror and I don't see a difference, or like I try to do a stretch and I don't seem like I'm more flexible. But like if you're doing these movements and your programming is good, which that's an important thing, is to like have like a strategy for what you're going to do, and you can use programs from professionals and these types of things to make sure that you're hitting everything in the exact way that you should be. As long as your strategy is good and you're doing it consistently, your body is changing. Like good things are happening even if you don't see it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so like if you look in the mirror, or if you're trying to lose weight, you look at the scale and you haven't lost any weight, and you go, it's not working. You got to stop and go, okay, especially if you're an ADHD person, you got to go, all right, I'm dealing with a barrier. This is like shorter time horizons, delayed gratification issues. You got to stop and be like, okay, this is a barrier, and then just choose to stick with it, because it's the consistency over the long term. It's the long game. We're trying to like be fit for the rest of our lives. Yes. I'm not trying to get shredded just for the beach.
And exactly. Well, I mean, a little bit.
I am trying to do that also. We're going to see this summer how I look.
Yes. Both of us. Yeah. It's going to be interesting as you follow us on our journey, because right now we're bulking. So
we're on the bulk.
Thus the sweatshirt, because I am not beach ready right now. But
yeah.
But that is one aspect of it, but that's not the whole thing. It should be, it's certainly, that is one way to motivate yourself. But if you...
It's a good motivator. That's the thing, is like people will kind of poo-poo that. Like, oh, you shouldn't worry about what you look like. You should just accept yourself, and physical fitness should just be all about like movement. It's like, well, it doesn't necessarily have to be. Like, movement is a good motivator that you should latch onto, but your looks are a good motivator too. Yeah. Like, there's nothing wrong with wanting to look better. Exactly. As long as it doesn't get kind of to a dysfunctional degree.
Yeah. And I've never understood people who will they'll be dressed to the nines. They'll have, well, for the girls, they'll have their nails done, and their makeup, and their hair, and the guys are, all coiffed and so on and so forth. And whatever guys do, I don't know.
I don't know.
But yet they don't take care of their body. So they got the big gut, and then it's like, well, okay, so you slap some paint on it. That's cool, I guess, But nothing looks better than being healthy.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like a lot of that, I feel like 90% of that is like an education issue.
Yeah.
I feel like most people who are in that situation, maybe they do care about what they look like, but they just don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And hopefully, like, we can kind of nudge them in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the big things that people always talk about with weight loss is cardiovascular exercise. So why don't you tell me about the importance of cardiovascular exercise?
Oh gosh, I mean, it can't really be overstated. I mean, the medicine is in the dosage. The medicine or the poison is in the dose, right?
Yeah.
And that's true of everything. But there's a lot of conjecture about how cardio is not good to do alongside strength training, like it kills your gains, right?
Yeah.
And there's from the bodybuilding world and the fitness world, there's also a lot of, like, I don't know if you want to call it a meme, but like, look at this marathon runner. They're all scrawny and skinny and they don't have good muscle definition. Now look at this bodybuilder and they have all this awesome sweet muscle. And so it's...
Here's the thing. How long does it take to run a marathon?
Right. Well, I mean, depending on who you are, anywhere from 2 to 4+ hours. Yeah.
4 hours.
Yeah.
So you probably are going to burn 3,000, 4,000 calories in that amount of time. If you're running that much, it could cause your body to pare down muscle
and that's,
as an adaptation to conserve energy so you don't starve to death.
Yes.
That's your body. Again, we're going back to like this kind of Paleolithic kind of adaptation because your body doesn't want you to starve. So that can happen, but if you're doing a normal amount of cardio.
Yes. So for now, let's just talk about the sweet spot of cardio and just for normal health and wellness, right? What is the American... we're doing this off the cuff, by the way. So the American Heart Association...
Yeah.
What is it, 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week or something along those lines?
I want to say it's 150 minutes a week.
150 minutes a week.
So,
okay. Now, here's the thing. Cardiovascular can be anything that gets your heart and lungs going. That's what it is. So the cardiovascular system is essentially the heart and lungs and how it moves your blood through the body. That's what your cardio is.
You get the blood pumping.
And so any exercise that elevates your heart rate and get your breathing a little heavier is cardio. It is incredibly important for overall health, wellness, longevity, prevention of heart attacks and all. I mean, all that. Cardiovascular health is super important.
Now you're the one doing an intervention on me.
Yeah.
Because I hate cardio and I try to stick to it, but it's difficult.
I saw a couple, I think it was probably about this time last year, I saw 2 videos back to back on YouTube, which really was kind of funny because they weren't the same creator. There was one that was a TED Talk, and I don't remember who published them or anything like that, other than the one was a TED Talk. But if I can find them, I'll try to put a link in the description down below. The TED Talk was talking about how too much cardiovascular, like running, I think the subject was specifically running.
I know what you're talking about. I saw this.
I probably sent it to you.
Yeah.
So, running too much actually has the inverse effect of what most people want.
Yeah.
So if you're training for half marathons and marathons a lot, and you're like, you kind of have identified as a distance runner.
Yeah.
It could actually end up stiffening your arteries and stuff prematurely.
Yeah.
And so you would actually have more issues down the line with blockages and things of that nature that you might not otherwise have. And so, like I said, the poison and the medicine are both in the dosage. In that TED Talk, he said, a couple miles, 20 minutes is great. It's awesome for your heart. But if you go too much more than that, then you're going to have issues.
And then we kind of get into like the different like purposes of fitness being like health and wellness, and the other being competitive with other people.
Yeah.
And that's
which there's a lot of crossover.
Is that like athletes? We kind of like put athletes up on this pedestal as a society as like the picture of health,
pinnacle,
the pinnacle of health, because they're all like shredded and they look awesome and they can move great, but actually like professional athletes on the elite level, those people are not really healthy. No. They're like usually riddled with muscle imbalances, and they push themselves way too hard
Lots
because
of
they have to be
injuries.
better than the
Yeah.
other guy.
Lots
it's not
of
just like
injuries.
making slow and steady progress for yourself. It's lots of injuries, lots of like you said, it can be bad for your cardiovascular system to overdo it, like to run. You know, there's ultra marathons where people run 100 miles. That's not a healthy thing to do. That's that's an insane thing to do.
But it's it's weird how we get like, and everybody's different. Like everybody, we all set goals for ourselves, and some things are just for your own like self confidence, like just to prove that you can do it. I've done that. I've run a marathon. I've run one. I don't know if I might do it again someday. I don't know. But yeah, it doesn't feel good at the end. But yeah, so I saw this TED Talk that says that, you know, overdoing the cardio, overdoing the running can actually have an inverse effect on what you want. And so he said that the sweet spot is like 15, 20 minutes. You're great. You're golden.
Yeah.
The other guy was, I think he's the Bioneer or the Bioengineer. Bioneer? Have you seen this on YouTube? Shout out to the Bioneer on YouTube. He has awesome videos. He talks a lot about like optimizing your health and like being well-rounded in physical fitness and stuff. And he did one about how running is like awesome and how everybody should run. And he said even once a week is enough. And so in that video, he was just touting all the wonderful benefits of running. It helps your posture. It helps your core muscles. Of course, the cardiovascular system is good. And he said even just once a week. And he was advocating for low intensity, steady state. So you have HIIT training, which is high intensity interval training. And then you have LISS, L-I-S-S, low intensity, steady state. And that's what he was advocating for. Just a nice, easy jog. Doesn't have to be super fast. Now, here's the other thing, is cardio doesn't have to be running. Okay? I will say this. People either love it or hate it. The people who hate it, they probably hate it because they don't do it. We tend to hate the things that are uncomfortable, and they're uncomfortable because we're not used to them.
Yeah, the thing that you hate the most is probably the thing that you need to be doing.
Yeah, exactly. So, unfortunately, in our modern society, even now, kids are growing up without running at all. They're being raised with an iPad in their hand, and
It's so weird.
It sucks.
It's so strange.
And so, we are literally raising an entire generation of people who have no foundation of movement at all.
It's gonna end up like Wall-E.
Yeah, exactly. No, not even. I mean, I wish that was funny.
Yeah.
No, you're not wrong. And so, what I would suggest, especially if you've never done anything physical, you've never done sports or anything like that, and I would suggest just walking, because even if you're not a physically active person, you have the muscle recruitment patterns and the you know how to walk. Your body knows how to do that. Running is actually a bit of a skill, and if you're not used to it, you can hurt yourself by doing the wrong muscle recruitment pattern.
And that's a big problem
and so on and so forth.
with cardio and running in general. I think that people, again, we hear this messaging that started with the obesity epidemic, which is eat less and move more. And people usually think that means eat not enough or like starve yourself, which would decrease your protein intake, and then just run. And people go from like not doing anything at all, just sitting on the couch at all times, to trying to run. You don't have that recruitment pattern anymore. You've lost it. And so you have to like,
you can find it again, but it's going to take work.
You have to put effort into running correctly. And also, again, working on your flexibility and your mobility in your hips and your knees and your ankles, and running with good posture. You're having your shoulders, your scapula back and down. Retraction and depression of the scapula.
That's why, again, and you know, our channel, we're not geared towards kids, but we all start as kids, so we have to talk about that sometimes. You know, that's why I think it's so important to get kids into some kind of athletics. Whether it is, I mean, it doesn't have to be super competitive. Like our nephews are in like a basketball league that's just basically like teaching them the sport, and like even the referees in the middle of the game are kind of coaching them what to do. You know, it's very like low key, like not low stress, but they're learning the game. But they get a lot of exercise and they're running, and you gotta, if you don't use it, you lose it. Right. And so, you know, it's very important to, if you got kids, get them doing something, anything physical. They play a sport, riding bikes, go out and climb on a tree. I mean, just go do something outside. Don't just take the iPad away for 25 minutes and go play.
For real. And another thing to your point about walking. Walking is one of the most underrated forms of exercise, I think. And now we have, Fitbits and Apple Watches and things that can track your steps.
Yeah.
If you want to increase your energy expenditure through movement, it is actually more effective to just track your steps and shoot for a number. The arbitrary number that I always hear is 10,000 steps a day.
Just try to beat your record.
Yeah.
Like if you had if you were completely sedentary and you had 50 steps yesterday, try to get 75 steps.
Yeah, totally. And people tend to, I need to lose weight, so I'm going to run. You don't have to start out with running. You literally can, if you just start tracking your steps and you just try to walk more, park farther away from the store when you go to get groceries or whatever, and, get a few more steps that way. Take the stairs instead of taking the elevator. If you're tracking your steps, you can...
if you have a dog, take your dog on a walk.
Yeah, try to go on longer walks with
Go
the
on
dog.
a walk after dinner. It's the day after Thanksgiving, and we ate enough to... I thought I hurt myself, to be honest. I felt I was stretching my insides.
I was not feeling too good.
And so you made me get out and we took your dog for a walk.
Yes.
Because it was just you feel better, it helps with digestion,
It actually does help with digestion. That's scientifically proven to be true.
I didn't want to. I wanted to lay on the couch, but but it was good that I had that encouragement to move my body a little bit.
Yeah, well, I felt like if I didn't go for a walk, it was going to be detrimental to, I'm going to tear something in here.
It was bad, dude. By the way, I don't recommend eating that much in one sitting.
I go unhinged on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. And that's this is probably a topic for another day, but isn't it funny how our society has just we took this holiday that was meant to be about thanking God for our blessings, and we've just turned it into a celebration of gluttony.
Just straight
gluttony. Straight up, fill your face as much as possible. Which is a reflection of our society at large.
If you are just starting a diet and you're trying to lose weight and it's November, you might have to excuse yourself from Thanksgiving. That could be necessary for some people. That sucks.
Yeah.
But if you're able to get yourself to a point where your relationship with food is a little bit more healthy and you're able to find moderation, which is still an issue for me, but if you're able to be okay, I'm going to go eat a whole bunch of food and eat pie because it's bonding with my family. Yeah. And we're going to all eat together and we're going to all get super full together. We're going to have this feast because it's family bonding time. No. That's okay, and you can do that, and you don't have to beat yourself up over having too many carbs or too many calories or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And like we said, in previous episodes, we've said that we're on a bulk. Yeah. So in our journey, it's kind of... we're at that place where it's okay to kind of have a bit more food. Yeah. We probably went overboard, but we can have a bit more.
I'm sure that I had more than a day's worth of bulking calories in that one meal.
In one meal, yeah. The other thing, too, is that our family has, for a long time, had the attitude of, on Thanksgiving in the morning or before the meal, let's do something physical. So I've been a runner for decades and I got our parents into running. And so there've been many years where we found a turkey trot, 5K race or whatever. We'll go run that in the morning and then we go have the Thanksgiving meal afterwards. We started a new tradition, which I think is going to stick. Yeah. We did our PRs on Thanksgiving.
PRs.
PR stands for personal record. It also stands for Plymouth Rock. Okay, it's the most American thing you can do on Thanksgiving is go hit a deadlift PR before you eat turkey.
Yes, we
235.
Deadlift and bench. I hit 300.
That's badass, dude.
That's a milestone.
That's awesome.
And I like that the milestones are so close together because I hit my old body weight. My heaviest recorded body weight was 280. I think I actually did get a little bit heavier than that without weighing myself. So I may have gotten up to 290-ish, but deadlifting 280 was a milestone for me because of that.
Your former body weight.
My old body weight. And then 300, you're just going over from the 200s into the 300s. So that's a
milestone. Big, yeah.
And then 315 is my next milestone because that's 345s. I'm so close to 315.
We're already talking about strength training because we like it. But we were talking about cardio. So should we wrap up the cardio discussion?
Yes.
I will say this, that especially with cardio, find something you enjoy. Yeah. If you like bike riding, go bike riding. If you like playing basketball, go play basketball. Yeah. If you like playing golf and walking from one hole to the next, do that.
I like golf.
Anything. I get the appeal. I'm bad at it. I'm very bad at it.
It's very hard. It's extremely hard. It's very hard to hit a golf ball properly.
Yeah. But my point is, find something that you're going to enjoy, because then you're going to stick with it, right?
Yes.
If you think, if you hate running, which we already said you might need to work on it before you start to like it, but if you hate running, then don't start with running.
Yeah.
Start walking after dinner. Start, whatever the case might be. The trampoline park. I take my nephews to the trampoline park. That's one you kind of have to have a kid with you, or you'll get weird looks. It's kind of like asking for a table for one at Chuck E. Cheese. Doesn't really go over that well. So, but I take my nephews to the trampoline park, and they are my beard. Oh no, it's just for the kids. Do we know what a beard is?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay, so for in the LGBT community, at least it used to be. Now it's more people are more open. But back in the day, a gay person would have their husband or their wife. Like if I'm a female, I'd have a husband or a boyfriend, but he's just the beard.
Oh.
Because he's just my disguise. He's a disguise. That's the thing. So yeah, I need a disguise at the trampoline park.
That's silly.
Yeah. I need to bring kids with me so people don't look at me weird.
I feel like they won't look at you weird if you're amazing at trampolines, though.
Yeah, you have to be pro level.
If you're able to jump really, really high and do flips, people are going to be like, oh, they're training for something, I guess. They're an acrobat. So
either have kids or be amazing at trampoline. But my point is, find something enjoyable and then do it regularly. Does not have to be... People always think of all this stuff as being a chore, something you gotta do. It's make it something that you want to do.
Yeah.
Our family's big into basketball. We got a lot of basketball players in the family. We got people who just like to go riding their bikes, and that becomes something that is just part of their day. They just enjoy it.
Yeah.
And so that's huge. And the last thing I'll say about cardio is, in addition to just overall health and wellness, it keeps you young. It keeps your energy level high. People tell me I'm younger than I look younger than I am. Okay, I am what you might say middle-aged. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. But people my age who are out of shape. They just say, it all falls apart after 40. Just everything falls apart, and they can't take the stairs. They can't go up a flight of stairs without being super winded. I see people at my job all the time going for the elevator instead of the staircase, huffing and puffing, just walking to the elevator. And it's man, I can sprint up those steps,
Yeah.
And if you have a good cardio, you can keep up with your dog, you can keep up with the kids, you can keep, if you want to go do something that's fun, you have that option. Even though I don't play basketball regularly, if somebody invited me to play basketball, I have the physical capability to do it. Yeah. Because I keep my cardio in shape. Yeah. And so that's it's just quality of life stuff. If you have decent cardio, your quality of life is going to be way better. Yeah. So that's my speech on that.
So the next one, which I prioritize this as being the most important to me, I think that it is the most effective as far as changing your body. Yes. Is strength training. Lifting weights is number one, but that can mean a lot of things. That could be, lifting free weights. It could be doing machines. There's resistance bands. There's body weight exercises.
For a long time, because we're now, COVID is now a couple years removed. But yeah, for a long time, I was just doing stuff at home. Dumbbells, kettlebells. I got some my kettlebells and stuff behind you. Yeah. But yeah, just push-ups, sit-ups, get a pull-up bar. Pull-up bars are relatively inexpensive. Yeah. And you can do, if you got a pull-up bar, you can do a pretty complete full-body workout at home.
Yeah, just you can do push-pull legs.
Yeah, a couple dumbbells maybe. You're good, yeah. So it doesn't have to be, I think a lot of people, especially if they've never done it, it's very overwhelming. It's you can start small. You just, do some push-ups on your knees even.
Yeah, knee push-ups. I don't like that they're referred to as girl push-ups.
No, me neither. Because I can, not to be braggadocious, but I can crank out 30 push-ups, 30 military-style push-ups. Yeah. And it's, push-ups on your knees are it's a modification.
It's a perfectly legitimate exercise. It's not, it is not an indication that you're doing bad. It's
you are just lightening the resistance. It's if you can't bench 135, use smaller plates.
Yeah, it's the same. It's a method of progressive overload, and you can even do a drop set where you do push-ups from your toes and get to a point where you start to fail, and then go to your knees and then keep going, and absolutely. You really get the burn in your chest.
But my point in bringing that up is to say that everybody thinks of strength training as you got to go lift super heavy weights. Yeah. But there's so many ways to get resistance training.
Right. I want to back up and say I just casually mentioned push-pull legs. Oh, yeah. I want to kind of explain what that means.
Go for it.
So those are the basic movements. If you're looking at the compound movements, there's your leg movements, like the barbell squat is a good example, or if you're using machines, it could be a leg press or whatever. If you're at home, you can do. I mean, the squat is a crucial movement. You can use.
It's probably it's probably the most important movement.
People say that that's the king of all exercises is the squat. You can do squats with resistance bands. You put the resistance band under your feet and then over your shoulders and squat like that and add a little bit of resistance. You can just pick up a kettlebell or whatever and do squats like that.
Yep.
So those would be your leg movements. A deadlift is sort of a leg movement. It's also kind of a deadlift is interesting because it falls under both the category of legs and a pull. So a pulling exercise is going to activate your back and your biceps as well.
So pulling, anytime you're pulling, your back is retracting and your biceps are contracting. So you have this movement, that would be a pull, whereas anything going forward is activating your chest and your shoulders and your triceps.
So that's a push. We hear about, if you've ever heard people talk about like body part splits when they go to the gym, that will be their split a lot of the time. It's like I'm doing a push day or just chest day. They'll call it chest and triceps day. They'll sometimes refer to that.
Yep.
And then back and biceps is on Tuesday, and then legs is on Wednesday or
and then
whatever.
Repeat. Yeah.
And they repeat that. That's like your body part split. I'm not a huge fan of doing it like that, particularly the way that I see people just hammer one body part.
Yeah.
It's like on your push day or on your chest day, you'll do. Some people will do like a bench press and then do a dumbbell press and then they'll go over and do the chest press machine and you're doing like 20 sets
it's just
for your chest and you're going to be debilitated the next day.
Overtraining is a thing.
Overtraining.
For sure.
So like what is going to happen, that's actually can limit your gains.
Yeah.
Because if you're so sore that you can't move, then you can't hit that muscle again and then the frequency is gone.
Yeah.
And then also your body is allocating its resources towards recovery instead of growth and adaptation.
And I've had to learn, I've had to unlearn that because like we talked before about having the athlete mindset where you're like push, go hard. And that can be, like you said, it can actually have an adverse effect. And so learning to do the exercises as prescribed, even if I didn't feel like, I was like, man, I could have gone harder, I could have done more. It's like, no, but you did it. You did as many sets, as many repetitions as you need to do to activate that body part.
And that's the thing is that gaining strength is one of the best indicators that you're putting on muscle and that your physical fitness is changing and eventually the aesthetic of your body is going to change along with that. And there's all kinds of benefits that come with muscle gain. But if you're so sore every time, a lot of people will associate two things with an effective workout, being sore and sweating, and actually neither of those are really a good indicator. Sweating just means you're hot.
Yeah, when sweating, if you're doing cardio, you would expect to sweat.
Yeah, well, it's good. Yeah, if you're pushing your cardiovascular system, then it's going to raise your body temperature. But that's really all that sweating means is just that you're overheating. Yeah. That's all that it indicates. It doesn't actually indicate an effective workout. I usually sweat when I work out.
I sweat a little.
But and getting sore is the other thing. You don't have to get sore.
I had to get over that because I was always chasing that. I was like, I'm not sore today. What? I must not have worked hard enough.
Yeah, but if you're not sore, but you're still gaining strength, you're putting more weight on the bar, even if it's the little 2.5 pound plate. You're still, or not even more weight on the bar. Another rep. Or not even another rep. Maybe you do the same amount of reps, but your form looks better. Yeah. That means that you're stronger because your form isn't breaking down as early. That's a strength gain. So there's all these metrics that aren't, it's not what you feel, and it's maybe not something that's entirely measurable, like your form improving, but you can see those little strength gains. And if you can gain strength consistently over time without getting sore, and you can keep hitting the same body parts over and over again, and you're getting stronger and stronger, that's a win, dude. You're winning at weightlifting. Absolutely.
And I would say you hit the nail on the head. Look for strength gains. Measure. Since I've been bulking, I haven't stepped on the scale except at the doctor's office. So I know I've put on some weight, but I started just measuring the amount of weight that I could move.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, there is few things on this earth that will build your confidence more than getting just physically strong, because it's objective. It is, there's no conjecture. There's nobody can argue it. It's like, I picked that up.
Yeah.
I picked up 235 pounds.
Yeah.
And so it's such a good feeling of like, I don't know, nobody can take that away from you.
I will say that the first time I actually did a barbell deadlift, the first time I did that, my max was like 115 pounds.
Yeah.
It was not much. And just the other day, yesterday I picked up 300 pounds off the floor.
There's something that's just so...
It's like I am legitimately building upon myself.
You're seeing the results of your hard work, the consistency, the dedication, all of that is paying. You're trusting the process. It's paying off.
Yeah.
So that builds confidence, and then just the raw kind of like that, just like that animal instinct of like, yeah, I'm big and strong. Like that makes you feel more confident. Like you're walking around like, I think we were texting back and forth talking about irritating people. I won't get into detail, but you said something to the effect of, do they realize how strong you are? You could just pick them up and throw them like a piece of paper. And it's like, no, they probably don't know how strong I am. But it's like, that feeling of knowing that you have that ability and that it feels really good. And nothing else like, you could have a college degree, but like you could have a college degree in, I don't know, feminist underwater sculpture.
Basket weaving.
Yeah, something like that. It's like, and so yeah, you have a college degree, but is it really worth anything? It's like, should that build your confidence? I don't know. Maybe there's some underwater basket weavers who are really legit. I don't know. But my point is that a lot of things can be subjective. A lot of things can be argued. But just the raw ability to pick up heavy ass weight. You can't argue it.
You can't argue with the fact that I just picked that up. Although people online do. Yeah, I see comments on like there was like a dude who was doing barbell rows with like 495. It was stupid, the level of strength, and he started to get a little bit of a cheat to it where he was like kind of momentum lifting.
Yeah.
And there was tons of comments like, "Oh, your form is trash, dude. Why are you trying to pick up that much weight? You suck." It's like none of you are anywhere close to being as strong
exactly.
as this guy. Well, you don't have any room to talk. Like try to deadlift 495.
Yeah.
Like
it's insane.
99% of people can't do that.
Yeah.
Trying to barbell row 495.
Yeah, no.
That's ridiculous.
I think a barbell row, what was it like? I don't even know. 75
Everybody's
pounds,
an
80
expert.
pounds, I don't know. Yeah.
80
Everybody's
pounds.
an expert. So comment below, what are some of the stupidest things that you've seen people say online about weightlifting?
Yeah. Yeah. So as far as what effective exercise programming means, first of all, I want to backtrack a little bit. The stretching and mobility and cardiovascular health, both of these things are important to building muscle because as far as mobility, if you can squat down deeper, you can get into a deeper range of motion, and you are able to take it all the way through that deep squat, you're going to build more muscle than if you're just squatting down to 90 degrees.
Yes.
So having that hip mobility is important for building muscle.
Well, and if you build strength only in a limited range of motion, you're actually going to reinforce a lot of that immobility.
Yeah, and that's why like bodybuilders get to be muscle bound.
Yeah,
like where they have no mobility at all because they pump things like this.
Yeah.
And they're not taking it through that full range of motion. And like doing that, might get your pecs to grow. I'm only taking it this far because I'm like trying to feel the burn. But then it's like I don't have any strength in this range of motion where I'm extending my arms all the way and taking it all the way down to my chest. So like you've kind of just shot yourself in the foot because like you're not going to be able to. All you can do now is like try to get your muscles to be bigger, and it's like kind of is detrimental to your quality of life. Yeah. At that point, absolutely. But again, that's competition. That's not exercising.
And
for
we do need
health.
to kind of separate those things out. Like there's overall health and wellness, and then there's competitive athletics.
Yeah.
And there's overlap, but they're two separate issues.
Yeah. And then cardiovascular health is important for weightlifting as well because of the gas tank that it gives you. Is like if you are going to go to a higher rep range, which I recommend switching rep ranges every once in a while. If you go to a higher rep range, let's say I'm going to do 15 reps of a barbell squat. That's cardio.
That's
like
hard.
I'm going to be breathing hard by the end of 15 reps of a barbell squat.
I'm actually not looking forward to our next phase. Are we on the last week of phase one?
Yeah.
Okay, so next week.
Next week we're going to 8 to 12 reps for most things, and then I think like bench press is like 10 to 15 reps or something. There's some of them are a higher rep range, but so you have to build up your mobility and your cardio to more effectively build muscle. Now that doesn't mean that you can't build muscle without doing those things, but to really like optimize it and reach your actual potential as far as what you can do, you need to kind of have a mastery of all three of these things, or at least, you know, have some form of getting some of it on a consistent basis.
Yes.
So what does it mean to have like effective exercise programming? So like the biggest bang for your buck exercises are going to be the compound movements, which are movements which use 2 or more joints.
Yes.
So a squat utilizes the hip, the knee, and the ankle. So that's a compound lift. So using that many muscle groups that have to all work together and recruit themselves.
The core muscles, everything. I mean, really, it's kind of engaging almost everything.
Yeah.
But
those exercises that utilize more muscle groups are going to give you a louder, more strong muscle building signal happening in the body.
Yes. So for the complete novice, compound movements move multiple joints, right? So that would be a squat, like even just standing up out of this chair, right? My knees are going to work, my hips are also going to work, right? So standing up, that would be a compound movement. A bench press or push-ups, same thing, because the shoulder and the elbow are engaged. But something like a bicep curl is only using moving the elbow, therefore it's isolating one muscle. Yeah, isolating. So a bicep curl would be considered an isolation exercise.
Yeah, which is a great exercise, but it's not going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. So like movements like the squat, the deadlift, the bench press, the overhead press, pull-ups, or a weighted pull-up if you're a badass.
I'm not
I'm not there yet. I really want to get to a point where I can do weighted pull-ups. I'm not there yet.
No.
A barbell row. A lot of these barbell movements are going to be compound movements. There's not a whole lot of barbell stuff.
And you can really, like, for just overall progression, muscle growth and development and overall health, you can just stick with the compound movements. You don't even really need to do a whole lot of isolation stuff.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, if you're only going to lift weights, let's say you're going to lift weights twice a week. This is enough for most people to see benefits. And if you only got time let's say you only got time to do 8 sets total. My whole workout is going to be 8 sets. So I go to the gym on Monday and I'll do a barbell squat for 4 sets and then an overhead press for 4 sets. And then if I go to Monday? I'm going to go to the gym again on Thursday, and then I can do the deadlift for 4 sets and then bench press for 4 sets. And then that right there is enough to cause this full body muscle building signal. Now you might want to get a little bit more of a pull happening.
Yeah, you might want some pull-ups in there somewhere.
Pull-ups,
or something.
But that, thinking about that pressing motion, pulling motion, and legs, if you do each one of those in a workout, that's going to give you the most.
You're hitting pretty much every muscle group.
Yeah, you're going to hit every muscle group. That's going to give you the most bang for your buck, and it's going to give you the loudest muscle building signal. So I mentioned that I'm not a huge fan of body part splits. They'll work. They can work. What?
Well, I was going to say, here's why I like them.
Okay.
It's again, going back to time management. Right now the program we're on is now it's kind of a bodybuilder program.
Yeah.
But it's 3 days a week, full body workouts, and it's a lot of volume. It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And so a workout might take an hour and a half. I don't got that kind of time, and I think a lot of our viewers probably are saying the same thing.
It's taken me over 2 hours to get it done.
So like a push pull legs split can be beneficial because I might be able to get in and get a workout in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I can hit my just push day, I can hit some bench, I can hit some overhead, I can hit some, whatever, tricep extensions, call it a day. And then the next day, same thing, pull day, whatever. So I don't have to go super volume on it, but I can hit in a 30-minute workout, I can hit the muscle groups that I intended to hit. Does that make sense?
So here's the flip side of that. If you're doing a body part split, you got to think about the frequency. So like, let's say if I'm doing on my push day, I'm going to do 3 sets of a push. So maybe I'm going to do like a bench press, an overhead press, and like a dumbbell press.
Sure.
Or whatever. If I'm only working out 3 days a week, I'm only going to hit those muscle groups once a week. Now, let's say I have 3 different exercises on my leg day, 3 different exercises on my pull day. Well, if I just split all of those up and I just take 1 exercise from my push day, 1 exercise from my leg day, and 1 exercise from my pull day, and do that 3 days a week, that means that my volume for the week is the same, but my frequency has increased. So I'm hitting these body parts more often throughout the week. And like, if you are doing a body part split, if you miss a workout, you may go 2 weeks without hitting legs.
Yeah. Or you've thrown your schedule off.
Totally.
Whatever. Yeah.
Exactly.
One or the other.
That's one reason why full body workouts are legit. Now, the workout that we're on right now is a whole lot more than just the compound lifts. We're like very thoroughly hitting every muscle group. There's like calf raises and shrugs and like all these different types of things where we're trying to like very thoroughly hit every single muscle.
Yep.
That's not necessarily what I'm talking about. I'm saying just try to get push-pull legs in each workout.
Yeah.
So the other thing about it is, what's the other thing about it? Systemic muscle building signaling.
Yes.
So...
talk about this, because I'm a little bit fuzzy on what this means.
So, basically, again, this is similar to what I was talking about with the stretching and mobility, how it's a central nervous system response. We when we're lifting weights, your central nervous system is responding to the stimulus, and it's sending a signal to the brain and then back down to the rest of your body to coordinate, to build muscle. It's all a central nervous system response to the stimulus. So it's not necessarily that you have to destroy your muscles and recover in order to build muscle. That was kind of the school of thought a lot before, was that you had to like completely annihilate the muscle. Yeah.
You're damaging the muscle, and then when you fall asleep, you get adequate protein and nutrition, and then while you're sleeping, your muscles repair. Which
is true, but you don't have to like destroy yourself every time in order to build muscle and build strength. So think about this. There's the guy who only does upper body and has like little chicken legs. This guy gets to a point, and this is an anecdote I feel like a lot of us have heard if we're in like the fitness space. If we're talking about gyms, or if we go to the gym, or we have fitness people that we talk to, there's usually some anecdote about the guy who never hits legs, and then he hits a ceiling. He can't gain any more strength in his bench press or his overhead press or his bicep curls. He's done. Complete plateau. Can't build any more strength. Well, finally, somebody talks this guy into doing a squat.
Yeah.
And then he starts building muscle in his legs, and then boom, his upper body starts gaining strength too.
Right.
Because he's got this central nervous system adaptation that's happening throughout his whole body. It generates this louder, more strong muscle building signal.
Which makes perfect sense, because the body was not designed to work just one muscle at a time.
That's what I'm saying.
It's designed to be everything works in unison.
Another good example of that is like, let's say you break your leg and it's in a cast. If you still go to the gym with a broken leg, and you hobble up onto the leg extension machine, and you do single leg extensions. It actually will prevent the other leg from atrophying.
That's
because
crazy,
there's a central nervous system signal happening in this leg, so it's telling your body that your legs still need muscle. So you actually can prevent muscle loss in this leg by working out the other leg.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah.
So if you work out your whole body every workout, then you're going to have that louder central nervous system response, because your whole body is scrambling for resources. Like, we need to build muscle everywhere now.
Yeah.
And it's like your body's going to prioritize it more.
Right.
So I used to do like just upper body, lower body split. I would just do like push and pull one day, and then I would do like legs and abs the next day.
I used to do that.
And that's the way I would do it. That's the most I ever split it up. But I would say even still, I got much better results when I started doing full body every workout.
Yeah.
Now, body part splits can be effective if you're willing to commit yourself to going to the gym like 6 days a week.
Yeah.
If you can go to the gym every single day.
You can do,
then you can hit legs twice a week, pull
Right.
twice a week, push twice a week, and you do that consistently, then that'll totally work.
Mm-hmm.
But most people want to figure out how can I lift weights maybe 2 days a week and still
Right.
get results.
No, yeah, if you're only doing twice a week, yeah, you have to do full body.
Yeah.
You can't get away with that. With doing like upper body on Monday and then lower body on Thursday, that's not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say you probably need to be hitting each muscle group typically twice a week.
Twice a week minimum,
Yeah.
I would say. Yeah, I would agree with that.
2 to 3 times a week. But you can do that with a split if, like you said, if you're doing it like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then repeat Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Which some people love it, and like some people, if you're a bodybuilder and you're on steroids and you can just annihilate a muscle group and then be
Right.
recovered like by dinner,
Yeah.
and then you can go do it again. That was Arnold Schwarzenegger's training routine was he would train
2.5 hours in the morning, 2.5 hours in the evening.
5 hours a day.
Yeah.
And it's like a normal person cannot do that.
And
You
then
don't have
he'd
enough
go
time.
run 5 miles.
Yeah.
They're like just like insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not normal people stuff. That's Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's different.
I'm sorry to burst your bubble that Arnold wasn't natty. I'm sorry.
What?
I'm so sorry.
The Terminator? Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Childhood dreams crushed.
Crushed. But so let's talk about the benefits of building muscle.
Oh, yeah.
As far as health benefits.
All of the benefits?
Yes.
Yeah. It's all beneficial.
If you play a sport or you do karate or
Yes.
you do anything that's physical, being stronger will make you better at that.
Absolutely will.
So that's first and foremost.
And may I also say, earlier I said, especially with cardio, just find something you like to do and go do it. Strength training as a supplement to your sport or your activity, that especially for people who aren't motivated to go lift weights. If let's say you're playing basketball and you're big into playing basketball, well, you can start lifting weights twice a week with the intent of being a better basketball player.
Yeah.
And that will help motivate you and keep you consistent because you are, I got a game next Saturday. I got to, work out, whatever the case might be. But that's kind of a way around that motivation factor of like just looking at the gym as a chore,
Yeah, and
I do it I'm a martial artist, and I do a lot of times the only thing that gets me out of bed in the morning is like, gotta go work my legs and my glutes and my hips and gotta get ready for kicking and yeah, so it's like it is a motivator for sure.
Yeah. Even on a more basic level, it's gonna improve your movement, especially if you're doing it in conjunction with mobility work.
Yeah.
If you like me when I was bigger, I have a hard time getting up off the couch. And now that I've gained a whole lot of strength and I've lost that weight, it's you just press your feet into the floor and you're up. It's easy. It's like it makes it to where you have less and less difficulty with day-to-day things. Getting up out of bed, getting the groceries from the car. I don't ever make 2 trips.
Yeah.
I'll spend $150 at the grocery store and I'll carry all of it at once.
Okay, that's okay.
2
Seems
trips.
like you're making life harder, but okay.
No, it's harder to make a second trip, man.
Well, but you're right though. Just normal everyday stuff.
Yeah. Anything you have to do. If you have to move, you got to move to a new apartment. It's going to be much easier if you're really strong.
Yeah. Or even just like we both have big dogs. We both have lab pit bull mixes. And just moving my dog's crate, his travel crate is humongous. I should have got a Chihuahua. I don't know what I was thinking. But it's humongous and it's not heavy, but it is awkward. But like ever since I've been lifting, it's been so much easier to just haul that thing up and move it where I want to go, and I'm not tripping over myself as much.
Yeah, I mean, like when we were cooking,
or even lifting the dog itself. By the way,
we were cooking Thanksgiving dinner yesterday. I was boiling the noodles for the mac and cheese and bringing it over to the sink. I had that thought that was like, man, if I wasn't this strong, this would be really hard because it's a big pot full of water that I was trying to like dump, and like so everything in life, it just kind of, if you have strength and mobility, you just kind of glide through life unencumbered.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I think of it. I mean, at least physically, maybe not mentally. But
I need to work on that mobility,
especially as you age.
That's huge.
Maintaining your strength is is crucial because the older you get, the more catabolic your body becomes. You start catabolic means that you're burning up tissue, and you'll lose muscle. And when people get to be really old, you get to be in your 80s and 90s.
That's why they get small and frail.
They crumple up and they can't stand. And all of these things are connected. This is connected to your digestive health and your mental health and all of these things.
Yeah, it's all one system.
It's all one system. So if you strength training and putting on muscle also helps your mental health, and it helps manage mental health issues. And I think pretty much across the board, universally, any kind of mental or neurological problem that you have, building muscle will help with that. Dementia, it helps with dementia and Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and depression and anxiety and all of these things. If you put on muscle, it helps.
And that is so much of the, if you just like go online, like on TikTok or whatever, and you see, by the way, TikTok's the devil, although we'll probably have a TikTok soon, so look out for that. But yeah, you'll see like, there's online culture regarding the fitness space. There's, fitness, I think they call it Fit Talk, right? Yeah. Fitness TikTok. And where was I going with this?
I don't know.
God damn it.
Online culture?
Oh, well, people consistently on like the memes and the short videos and stuff, they will consistently refer to the gym as like their therapy. That's like, they're going to the gym, that's their therapy, or that, whatever the case might be. Our nephew, who is just, he's a teenager and he is just getting into weightlifting and so on. He told me something really interesting that he said that weightlifting helps with your long-term mental health, but cardio is like a quick fix. So like if you're feeling,
makes a lot of sense.
If you're feeling low and you're feeling like bummed out, go for a run, go for a jog, go do something cardio.
It gives you like that heavy
pump. Get that not pump, but like
endorphin release.
They call it a runner's high. That's what they call it. So, and it's true. It's hard to be, if you finish a 2 or 3 mile run, it's hard to be like grumpy right after that.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, so I ran track and cross country competitively in high school and in my freshman year of college. And during the summertime when I wasn't training as much, I would get like really bitchy and like grumpy, and Dad would look at me and go for a run right now. And I did, and then I would feel better. And so it is a lot of like, and I think there is a lot to that. I don't know where I got that information or if he just came up with that, but long-term mental health, building muscle helps, and in the short term, if you're like if you're down right now, go do something that'll get your heart going. Yeah, that's really good advice. It's an interesting. I back this up with no science that I'm aware of. It's other than my 14-year-old nephew. So. Well, I mean, subjectively, I would say from my own experience, it checks out. Yeah. Yeah, I that's actually one of the times that I will feel really motivated to do cardio is if I'm having a really bad day. Yeah. It's like if I go to the gym, like doing like some HIIT, like where I'm like, like really like wearing myself all the way out till I'm gassed. Yeah. Like it fixes my mood. Yeah. So let's see. We talked about mental health and strength going through life unencumbered. The other thing is fat loss. Yes. So that's huge. There's a couple of things with... all right, so gliding through life unencumbered. Yes, and mental health, fat loss. Yes, okay. So if you want to lose weight, this is one of the big things that, like, again, I hate this eat less and move more. They tried to take all of, like, fitness info and just condense it down to a sentence, and it's the wrong sentence. The sentence doesn't work. Because moving more doesn't necessarily burn more calories. If you just do cardio and you're not doing strength training, your body will use less and less calories to do the same movement. It will become more efficient. It will be able to do more with less energy. Your body does whatever it can to save calories. So that's why bulking is important, to give your body the nutrients that it needs to build. And if you build... So the mechanisms behind this are... the muscle tissue is metabolically active, meaning the more muscle that you have, the higher your resting metabolic rate is. Yes. So if you're just sitting on the couch, but you're jacked, you're burning more calories than those big muscles take calories just existing. Yes, and then the second thing is if you're actively strength training, it causes a caloric repartitioning effect, which means the calories that you eat
are going to be utilized for your muscle tissue instead of your fat tissue.
Yeah. So look at it this way. So it's like you have bricks to put to build a house, right? In this case, the calories and the nutrients are the bricks, and if you and the strength training is the blueprint for the construction workers, right? So if they have a good blueprint, then the construction workers will get to work putting those bricks in the shape of a house. The house being your muscles, right? But if you have a big pile of bricks and the construction workers don't have a plan to go by, they're just going to put those bricks in the pile to the side, and that's your fat stores.
Yeah.
So
it's not gonna have a shape.
Yeah.
It's not gonna have a
So the strength training acts as the blueprint for your body to know what to do with all that nutrition.
Yes, and so like if you're not strength training and you increase your calories, increase your calorie intake, almost 100%, it's going to go straight to your fat tissue.
Yeah.
But I actually found it pretty surprising how much I'm able to eat without really gaining fat.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still I'm shocked I'm still wearing the same pants that I was wearing pre-bulk.
Yeah, and
like,
you went
I thought,
how low did you go? You went pretty low.
What, for calories?
Yeah, when you were on the cut last time?
I mean, I think the lowest I got was 1,000 calories a day, which is way too low.
That's very low.
Yeah. But yeah, and I started increasing my calories, and I thought for sure it was all going to go right.
So how many calories are you at now?
Around 2,500.
2,500.
Something like that.
So that's 2.5
I haven't really
times.
been counting. Yeah.
It's more than double.
Yeah.
So my calories are around 3,500 right now.
And you can't do that without weightlifting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
That's why, you'll see like these jacked dudes eating just an atrocious amount of food, and you're wondering to yourself, how can they do that? Well, that's why, because they're building a lot of muscle with that food.
Yeah, and then the flip side of this, we're talking about bulking, but when you go to cut, if you want to lose that excess fat, you don't have to go back as low. So you worked your way all the way up to 2,500 calories.
Yeah.
I would be willing to bet after doing a bulk, you could go to 2,000 calories a day
and lose weight
and lose fat, because like your body is doing more with those calories and there's more energy expenditure happening. Like the metabolism is like this free flowing thing. Like this is one thing that you hear a lot with like people who are overweight. They'll look at somebody who's not overweight, who's eating a lot, and they'll be like, man, I just don't have that metabolism. I envy you because of your metabolism. And it's like, well, you can change your metabolism.
Yeah, that's what people don't get it.
Proper diet and exercise. It's totally possible.
People know the word metabolism and they kind of sort of know what it means, but they can use it correctly in a sentence, but if you ask them to define it, they're like, metabolism.
It's
like
a metabolism.
It's basically your body's entire system for utilizing energy, and it's adaptable. You can, the more muscle you have, the more, you can adapt yourself to have a much higher metabolism.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like that is some crucial information that is not even like really widely available. I think more people are talking about it now, but like I kind of had to dig through the internet to find this out, because I got to a point where I was Googling like how to break through a weight loss plateau, because I plateaued several times. I lost,
and that's where a lot of people would just give up.
It was about every 20 pounds. So through that like 90-pound weight loss, I'd lose 20 pounds and then totally stop. And that would be where I would give up for years. I would give up right there. I'd be like, well, I can't lose any more weight, so I'm not gonna try. But like this time, I was like, no, wait, hold on. I can do this.
Yeah.
I can.
There has to be a way.
There has to be a way. And we'll talk more about nutrition probably in the next episode.
Yeah.
But
we're gonna have. I think we're gonna do like grocery haul videos. We're going to do cooking videos. So we're going to talk a lot about nutrition for sure.
Yeah. So do you have anything to add?
Gosh, I think we pretty much covered everything. You have your mobility, you have your strength, you have your cardio.
Yeah.
And you have the different modalities, and they're all important. I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
But probably the most important, if we have to say one, is strength training.
Yeah.
Because that will make your body change more so than anything else you're going to do. But if you're just starting out and you have very limited mobility, start with mobility. Because that's going to be your way to be able to progress to strength training.
All right. Well, if you like ADHD Fitness, give us a like, a comment, subscribe, hit that little bell icon so you never miss a video.
Make sure you put all your questions down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Thanks.
Rock and roll.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
That was.